Hi, my name's Sonia Durant and I'm a researcher here and lecturer at RHUL Holloway in the Department of Psychology. I'm also the director of the Virtual Reality Lab, and this is the lab where we run experiments using the latest cutting-edge technology in virtual reality, which is increasingly becoming a very important tool in psychology because it allows us to create environments that are very realistic, but also that we can control and recreate exactly the same way every time. So in this space here you can see it's created especially for virtual reality to give people the space to roam around without knocking into things and make sure everything's safe. And we have, for example, on the wall these lighthouses that enable a certain kind of tracking to make sure that the virtual reality experience is especially realistic. And these work with these, for example, this kind of headset, which may look familiar to you from headsets that you have used at home. And this one in particular, the HTC Vive, is useful because it also has eye tracking. So for someone like me who's interested in visual perception, this also measures where someone is looking in the virtual reality scene. And we can tell exactly in 3D space where they are pointing their eyes. So this kind of research allows us to have lots of researchers from lots of different areas involved. So whereas I might be using very simple visual stimuli and seeing how people search around for patterns, differently tilted lines, very simple stimuli, and I'm trying to link that with how the brain processes these in 3D space. Other researchers in social perception, social interaction, for example, may create very complex environments, such as a full pub populated by other people, and they may look at how they interact with those people and how it affects their feelings of paranoia, for example. We also have research in the department which looks at aesthetics, where we've actually used this kind of equipment, using this powerful computing equipment that we have here to create virtual art galleries, and so we can recreate how people might explore and how they go through that feeling of wonder and pleasure as they're experiencing art, and we can manipulate subtle things in virtual reality to really see what effect that has on how people put that visual world together around them. So this really allows people to not just experience visual world, but importantly move around, and using these kind of controllers as well, which again you might be familiar with, but we can then create various ways of them interacting with the world as well. Now I'm just going to put this headset on, and we're going to see from the inside as well what I can see, and we're going to wander around and explore this environment. Okay, so what we're demonstrating here is a virtual art gallery that you can wander through. You can see here, we start here with a very boring artwork in front of me, which is just a cube. And what you can see overlaid on there is my eye movements as well. And so you can see at any point where I'm looking. Okay, so let's move on to the next display in this virtual art gallery. Ooh. And then straight away we are faced by a large statue. And you can see the power of virtual reality here. Imagine having to build this statue every time you wanted to run an experiment. And this is really very realistic, created from a real statue and then rendered in virtual reality using laser technology to find a 3D shape and then build it, model it and recreate it in virtual reality. So this research here involves looking at how people perceive art, how they interact with it. You can imagine normally in an experiment it would just be a 2D picture of this statue, and here we have the power of me being able to wander around it and also to register where my eye position is landing exactly as I explore this object in front of me. And it's not just simple objects in front of us that we can recreate, but we can recreate entire rooms. Obviously we are limited by the space in the virtual reality lab, but we can really recreate a sense of space around someone. And this kind of stimulus is used in the lab for researching back pain, for example. So asking people to reach and pick up objects off the ground, and we can then measure using not just eye tracking but also body tracking, for example, how they approach a task where they are in fear of back pain. And this can then eventually lead to remedies as to how to make people feel more confident and overcome their fear of back pain, for example. And it's not just realistic worlds you can recreate, you can actually create objects that never existed in the real world, such as this shape, which is very hard to create in 3D. As you can see, it is floating in front of me, and we can create fantastical things that break the law of physics, really pushing human behaviour to see how it works at its limits. So thanks for watching this video. For more about our research, see the links below, and we hope to see you here soon in the Department of Psychology at Royal Holloway.